Thanks, Emma. So you always hear on the wake-up call when they're introduced, like, wow, that was, amazing, that introduction and stuff like that. I always thought it's kind of, what you say after that. But really, Emma, thank you. That really meant a lot to me. I really appreciate that very much. So 2 weeks ago, I gave a Zoom call just to our Team Limitless League. And, hey, Will. And
you're muted. Go ahead.
What's that?
I saw you. I had to listen to you.
Oh, okay.
Will goes, if Carson's teaching tonight, I'll listen.
So 2 weeks ago, I gave this presentation that Shay Stanford gave at the Success Club trip. And it was awesome. And her talent is really she's fantastic at the science of Shakeology, but she's also fantastic at putting it together in a story that makes sense to people. And she really has that natural ability, and she's a nutritionist, holistic nutritionist. She's been in pharmaceuticals for type 2 diabetes was the main drug that she sold. So she's got a lot of knowledge, more so than the majority of us most likely have. So it was really neat to see that. So anyway, I gave this presentation 2 weeks ago, and I was going off with, a lot of her slides, but I kind of tweaked them to help make sense. And it felt so unnatural to me. I was trying to go into the science of Shakeology, and it was kind of one of those presentations at the end. I'm like, I did not nail that whatsoever. So what I decided to do was she's got both sides. She's good at both sides, the science and the emotional side. I'm really can rely on the emotional side when it comes to my talents and stuff. Because selling is emotional. It's not about the facts in most cases. And many of us, or the majority of us, I hope I can say this and it be fairly true, is that we're not all nutritionists, and we don't have that science background where we really know how the body performs and all of that. And if we don't know all those facts and everything what all 70 superfoods and Shakeology can do for us, then it's going to be really hard to do really well at the science part of it. So what I personally do is I rely on the emotional side of it, the storytelling side of it, and how storytelling is really what I always, whenever I say the word sell, just know that I do not like that word because I truly believe, me being in sales, I truly believe I'm not selling things to my customers, and I never try to come across as that. So I do not like the word sell, but it does explain things better. So when you sell something to somebody, they really purchase that because of how they felt emotionally, not just because of the facts. Our left brain is so analytical and factual and needs to feed on information. And if we feed that information or facts to the left side of our brain that handles that stuff, then what happens is, and this is a study, it wants more. It needs more information, more facts. And so it's kind of an endless cycle that no one will ever really buy anything if it's all factual only, because they just don't feel satisfied. But the right side of the brain is the emotional side. It's the side where true selling really takes place, because selling is all about connection, connecting to the person who's selling or sharing whatever it is that they're sharing. If they feel connected, they're going to listen to those stories. They're going to listen to some of the facts that you will share and things of that nature. So that's kind of the approach I'm going to take tonight, is more of the storytelling of being in front of customers, how you can do that. So to tell you guys a little bit about myself, I know you guys, some of you have heard a little about my story and some haven't, so I'll go ahead and just share a little of who I am and my background. So let's see. I think a big part of me, a very large part of me, I do have to start back kind of in my household as a kid. Normal to me was dirt poor. I thought if I went into a friend's house and I saw they had paper towels or any kind of cereal other than Cheerios, or if they had chips, potato chips, oh my gosh, I thought they were rich. Or if they could just drink a soda pop whenever they wanted to, I thought they were rich. So I know lack, let me put it that way. I was raised in a home where there was love. There was a lot of love, but there was a lot of sickness too in the house that I was raised in. I have memories of my mom caring for me and showing love and making me feel loved. But unfortunately, the majority of the memories that I have with my mom are things of us, having to jump in the car and rush her to the hospital because she tried to commit suicide. Finding her in the garage with the car running and a hose into the window. As a teenager, finding her, bringing my best friend home and finding her naked, passed out in my bathroom downstairs in between the toilet and the vanity. I have a lot more of those memories. She was sick and she had a disease, and she had severe mental illness. She had depression and bipolar to the extreme on those levels. And she suffered a lot for that. To me, I didn't think, I mean, I've thought about it a lot, but I didn't think that, I didn't know any better. Let me put it that way. I didn't know any better. So to me, it was just kind of a life. It was my life. It was just the way life is. It's normal in essence. I didn't expect more out of life or anything like that. And I knew that she had depression, but me, I didn't have depression. I didn't have bipolar. I did not have any of that. Even though it was hereditary, thank goodness it missed me. But it didn't miss my brothers, but it missed me. So I grew up went to college and stuff like that and partied like a rock star and, met Chelsea and we partied like rock stars. And then we settled down. I continued to party like a rock star. And then we had our first kid. I continued to party like a loser rock star. And then I started to party by myself. I would hide it. I would drink. I mean, it was to the point where I was drinking a fifth of vodka every night. And, I would lay in bed and drunk, and there would be this little teeny part of my brain, just this little teeny part that was who I really was, screaming inside, begging God to cure me or to save me or to take this addiction away. But I never considered it addiction because I was very functioning in the daytime. I got all my work done. I went to work. I did all of that stuff. So for years, I battled making promises to people that were important to me, especially Chelsea, saying I'm only going to drink on the weekends. I can handle this, or really lying to myself. And, finally Chelsea was done with it. She was done with it. And it wasn't because she didn't love me or anything of that nature. And I knew that, actually. I really knew that then. But it was because I was not there for my family emotionally whatsoever. Even if I was there physically, I was hiding, the alcohol that I was drinking. That was the most important thing on my mind. And So literally, finally, you know, with the fear of losing my family and my life, I told Chelsea, I remember sitting on the couch vividly with my arms, my elbows on my knees, leaning in and looking at her crying and just saying, I will do whatever you tell me to do, just or whatever you think I need to do or go or whatever, I'm going to do it. I promise. And so she called up therapists, and I kind of started that. I just white knuckled it. And I started realizing, going to therapy and stuff, that I kind of knew I was going to be diagnosed with depression or bipolar or something like that. But I really went in there telling the doctor, I don't care what you label me. I don't care if I have bipolar, if I have depression. I just want to be fixed. I don't want to die all the time. And so over time and trials, definitely, I got to the point to where I was sober for about 3-4 months, and went to an outpatient, intensive outpatient program in Texas, where I was humbled. I mean, these 18, 19-year-olds who have lived a life of pure hell, prostitution, you know, in the streets, males and females, doing everything for, you know, their addiction and things of that nature. And boy, did I think I was a loser, thinking I had it bad. So it was humbling to realize that I wasn't the only one out there. There was men, women, children, suffering from addiction and all of that kind of stuff. So I worked my program and being in recovery, and I found that going to the gym was something that really resonated with me. It made me feel good. It balanced me out. And I did get on medications. Once I was diagnosed with depression and bipolar, I was given medications to help balance out and stuff. But really, going to the gym felt amazing. It felt fantastic. I truly felt normal. And I didn't have that deep desire to run from myself or my brain, or hide or self-medicate for that. And I also started reading positive books, you know, self-help kind of books, and just ate it up and loved it. And I didn't go to AA, not that I'm against AA by no means. I did go a lot of times. It just didn't work for me. I didn't feel it and stuff. I just knew it was important to work a program. So I started working out and reading personal development. This is before I've even heard of Beachbody. And finally, Chelsea went to school with Emma, and so followed Emma for 9 months. For Mother's Day, we got her Insanity Challenge Pack. And I decided, I'll do it with you then. The day before she was going to start, I said, I'll do it with you. So we got up early, did Insanity. You know, we started. I wasn't a firm believer in Shakeology because of how expensive it was. I'm like, I'm going to go to GNC and I'm going to find something that's just as good and half the price. I literally took Shakeology, went to GNC, and I was there for 2.5, 3 hours talking with the guy there, trying to find something comparable. And there truly was nothing that was equal or better than Shakeology. And the guy sure tried, though. He really tried. But I'm in sales. He tried. He tried really hard. And so my pride didn't want to go back home empty-handed. I learned so much that day about Shakeology, though. I did. I still bought a bag for $60. It wasn't nearly as good as Shakeology. Took it home, and I started drinking that every day, and Chelsea started drinking her Shakeology. And she was saying all these things, you know, that she's like, we really liked our ice cream and popcorn at night, you know, before we started really getting into things. Even when we were working out and stuff, our diet was horrible. And she was like, I don't want ice cream. You know, I don't even want anything like that. And I was like, oh, when's that going to happen for me? And then Emma said something to her about it, changing cravings and all of that. And I mean, Emma was really new too to being a coach. And she's come just so far. But Chelsea told me that it's supposed to help with cravings and all that. Well, let me try it then. I'll try it. So, I mean, that was 3 years ago.
Carson,
And
you totally go through my list of everything I did wrong. Like, all the new coaches think that they're the only ones that make mistakes. But Carson and Chelsea, poor Carson and Chelsea had to go through me doing everything wrong, didn't know the policy and procedures, like everything. And now, like, we've come so far, all of us, right? Well,
absolutely. I wouldn't have had it any other way, though. I mean, I really got into it. But anyway, 3 months later, it took away those cravings. I mean, literally. And I don't know if it was a placebo effect or whatnot, but it did. It took away those cravings or the fast food cravings, because I ate fast food every day. But since I was kind of a healthy person going to the gym, I didn't order supersized, right? That's what I thought eating well or better meant. It's just not eating as much. So Shakeology truly hit the spot. And I went to the doctor 3 months later, and he took me off high blood pressure medication that I was on even for a whole year that I was sober, because it was about a year when I was introduced to Beachbody. I was on high blood pressure medication ever since I was 26 years old. I was on blood pressure medication. Showed the kind of lifestyle I lived. And 3 months later, he's like, blood pressure is fantastic. Your blood levels are fantastic, because I had really bad blood levels the last time I was in. He took me off the blood pressure medication, and he said, whatever you're doing, just keep doing it. And I didn't say that I was doing this or doing that. But anyway, that's kind of how I started with Shakeology. And 3 years later, literally to this day, I'm still drinking it every day. I wish I could say like Carl Deichler does, it's been 193 days, every day this year. I can't say that, but I do see a difference when I don't drink it as opposed to when I do drink it. So I wanted to touch on the vulnerability side of storytelling, or of explaining, who you are. Vulnerability will create connection. You cannot be connected to somebody where the trust is there enough for them to buy something that you're presenting if there is no connection. If it's not there, it's very rare. Let me put it that way. So showing vulnerability and getting to know them and them getting to know you is truly vital. If you don't show vulnerability, you're actually pushing that person away from you. I'm reading this book. It's What Great Salespeople Do. I don't know the author. I can't remember it. But he gave it an awesome example. He said, go to a cocktail party, sit around, a few parents or whatever kind of a party, doesn't matter, and talk with a few parents. And if you start talking about your kid and how awesome they are, and that they just got report cards, straight A's, and they made the varsity team, another parent in the group was like, oh yeah, my kid made the varsity baseball team, and they're going to be going to Stanford next year. They already got a full ride. The next parent's going to say, oh yeah, well, my kid, so-and-so and so-and-so. There's no connection there because they're just trying to one-up each other, and it's natural human nature for that to happen. So if we try to present Shakeology as this perfect thing and present it as facts and that it's totally changed our lives, as in it's perfect for us, it's perfect for you. Well, it's perfect for me because it changed those things that it needed to change for me, high blood pressure and all that kind of stuff. But somebody that's dealing with other health issues, that's why it's going to, really work for them. But if you just try to present it, one size fits all without any connection or vulnerability, you're going to see that person walk away. Now, second scenario, you're at a cocktail party or whatever party, and you say, you know what, I've got 4 kids. And after, say a couple of them told how great their kids are, you say, I've got 4 kids. 3 of them are really great. They're fantastic. Nice kids, get good grades. My 4th, I love just the same, no less, no more than my other kids, but man, did they challenge me. They've actually, been in trouble at school for doing, some smoking, on the school property and got in trouble and got detention. Their grades are suffering, and I'm just kind of at my wit's end. I love them so much, but I just don't know, what to do sometimes. Even if you just say that, guess what's going to happen? Another parent is going to say, oh, hey, don't worry, because, my other kid, they've had a problem with this boyfriend who has sent her down the wrong path. All of a sudden, people are starting to connect. It's just so different when you show vulnerability to people in stories. And that's what he did. He told a story. I love my kids. I have 4 kids. I love them all the same. 3 of them would do well. That was his story, and he showed vulnerability in it. It doesn't matter how long or how big. The story that I shared with you guys about my journey and everything like that, believe me, that took practice, and that took a lot of time. Not that it was fake, but I was horrible at telling my story, in the beginning. And it took a long time for me to even tell the story. And I'd be like, yeah, I was an alcoholic, and yeah, I was a loser. And, I didn't know how to really say that I messed up and I went through hell and back. So that's why I say it took practice of sharing my story, with others, to where I had that confidence to just open it up and lay it out to people. There's on TED Talks, there's an awesome talk by Brene Brown. Anybody know who she is? Read her book, The Power of Vulnerability? Brene Brown, Power of Vulnerability, awesome book. She talked about a study that she did. She researched people and she's spent years, well, over a decade now, of studying vulnerability and things of that nature. And so she got a big study group together and found people who in general were, really happy. She put it wholehearted, people who are wholehearted, who just seemed to be natural in front of people, and they had connections, and they just were nice to be around. So she took all of them and she wanted to figure out what commonalities they had to make them these wholehearted people. And 3 things that she found that virtually all of them had some shape or form of these 3 things. And one was the courage, literally, to be imperfect. They had the courage to be imperfect, not to live their life worrying what other people were going to think about them because whatever their history was, or maybe something really bad happened to them and they're trying to hide it from the world and hide it from themselves or anything like that. It's the courage to be imperfect. They all shared that trait. They all felt, in their own words, she put it all into one phrase, that what made them vulnerable made them perfectly themselves. What made them vulnerable made them perfectly themselves. And then the last thing is, literally, they were vulnerable people. They opened up. They weren't afraid to open up to people and make those connections. And do all the studies about people who live long lives. Virtually all of them have social connections. They feel connected to other people, to family members. People tend to, who don't have long lifespans, there's a lot of things, but almost all of them have in common, they don't have a powerful connection with people or a social group or anything like that. So the power of connection is so, so important. So moving on, how to apply all this to selling Shakeology. I'm supposed to be giving a presentation about Shakeology. I think I've said Shakeology twice. So again, sales rarely ever happen if there's no connection. And the most powerful way to connect with people is through vulnerability. And you don't have to tell them a huge, long, drawn-out story about, your life, from a kid to right now, like I just did. You don't have to do that. You can be relatable to people in so many different ways. But, again, like I said, knowing the facts about Shakeology is important, and I'm going to actually touch on that. But I truly just don't believe, unless it's 1 out of 100,000, that all the facts will actually sell them on Shakeology. I think there's still some underlying thing of why they want that or need that. So the facts can never take the place of a story, a good story. And your story is always going to be the best. And if you're brand new, don't worry about, not having a story, because you're going to have a story. And I promise you guys, there might be someone on here right now listening to me thinking, what's my story? I don't have a story. I wasn't an alcoholic. I had a great childhood. Everything seems like I had a really, good life. Don't worry, you have a story. And as long as you keep being an active Beachbody coach, that story is going to come out. It's going to come out, and you're going to start to understand yourself a lot better through personal development and things like that. So we all have a story to tell. And if you think you don't, find it, because it's in there. I promise you that. And you don't have to have some tragic thing happen to have your own story. So one thing that I like to do is start out kind of with my fears with somebody. I'll kind of share a little bit about them or myself with them, why I like Shakeology, what it's done for me, kind of the end story that I told you guys is how I related. And then I asked them a little bit about themselves, why they reached out to me. Why did you reach out to me? Why did you, reach out? And if they kind of tell me, I want to lose weight. Yeah, I understand that, and I get that, and I'm proud of you for wanting to do that. But why do you want to lose weight? Peel the onion, all of that kind of stuff. I don't need to get into all of that. So once you get that why, you shared a little bit about yourself, they shared a little bit about themselves, there starts to be a connection. Just make sure that you showed a little vulnerability when you're sharing about yourself, because if you don't, they are not going to share any with you. They are not going to share what's really making them tick. So if you don't show a little vulnerability, don't expect to find out the true why of the individual you're talking to. So you can say something like, well, let me get into Shakeology, a little bit. I can't promise you that I am the best person that knows all the scientific facts of Shakeology and all of that kind of stuff. But I know personally what it's done for me. And I'll tell you what, 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock in the afternoon, I used to have this crash or I needed to take a nap. And I literally remember a time sitting at my computer where my eyes would start to fall asleep. I just felt so tired. And that was a consistent thing. It wasn't something that just would happen every once in a while. I just had this afternoon crash. I'll skip a few examples that I had and stuff, but because we're going over, I think. So also the cravings thing that I was saying is also at nighttime, I've had this for as long as I can remember, this terrible craving for ice cream at night. And I hate to admit it, but before Shakeology, I would eat like a quart of ice cream every single night while I watched 2 to 3 hours of TV. And if that didn't fill me up, I would eat some popcorn, and I just had these cravings. And I knew it wasn't healthy for me, but I just wanted to eat that. It was comforting to me that in a way. But I'll tell you what, ever since I took the leap of faith to invest in a bag of Shakeology that my coach shared with me, when I got to that point to where I believed enough to where I would go ahead and give it a try. I mean, I had this my coach told me that I had a money back guarantee, 30 days. So what did I have to lose? So when I tried it, and after about, a week, I'll tell you, when I went through that, there were some changes going on in my stomach, and I was in the bathroom more than I'd ever been, but my coach told me that the digestive enzymes in Shakeology are some that your body has never had before, the probiotics and things like that. Your body is getting so used to that right now that it's going through a transition. Just give it a full week, and it's going to balance itself out. Just make sure you're consistent with Shakeology. That's what my coach told me. So that's what I did. I gave it a shot. I followed what my coach had shared with me. And ever since then, I don't have the crash. Literally, I'm not trying to sell you this. I truly don't have a crash at 3 or 4 o'clock in the afternoon. It literally took me a week of Shakeology, almost a week and a half, to realize what was happening, that, hey, I haven't had a crash, at 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock for the last week. And it was so awesome when I came to that aha moment. I called my coach up and I'm so excited. Also, the cravings at night, I remember my wife or my husband saying, honey, why didn't you buy any ice cream? I want some ice cream tonight. She's like, I said I wasn't feeling like it. And I didn't feel like it. And then it kind of popped into my head like, oh my gosh, I'm not craving that stuff. And I'm not going to tell you that I never have ice cream or anything like that. But I have noticed that I don't want to eat late at night junk food or all of that kind of stuff. Shakeology has balanced out my cravings. And that's what it's done for me. And I have lost 14 pounds since I started drinking Shakeology. And the thing that, 14 pounds, that's awesome. And I look better than I did. But nothing will compare to the changes that have taken place inside, the confidence that I've gotten when I put on my pants and I can pull them out to the side and I'm down 3 inches. And all of that started with nutrition and following the workout programs that my coach shared with me. But nutrition is such an important part of it, and Shakeology really came together and gave me everything that I was missing or everything that I needed and stuff. So that's kind of step out of role playing there now. That's just kind of a way I led with my fear, about Shakeology, saying, hey, I am not the most knowledgeable person about all the facts and science behind, what I drink every single day, but I do know how I feel. And then go into some of the things that I went into cravings. I went into the 3 o'clock crash. I told them a story. I shared a story, and virtually everybody can relate to midnight snacking and to a crash. That's why energy drinks are so popular, and 5-hour energy drinks. So many people can relate to that kind of stuff. And never tell the story like, can you relate to that? You have that, don't you? I know you do. Tell it from you, like almost you're the only one that you thought experienced these things. That's vulnerability. Telling them that you're eating a quart of ice cream at night. I'm sure that person didn't tell everybody that before they started, having a testimony of Shakeology and things of that nature. So showing a little vulnerability of weaknesses that you might have had and stuff, but sharing it through a story. I'll leave you guys with one thing that I said I'd get back to the facts of Shakeology. There is an important part of that, knowing that why your digestive system is kind of going funky when you first start drinking Shakeology, whether or not, and this is Shay Stanford that shared this, whether or not you're going to the bathroom all the time or you're constipated. Everybody is so different, and it's the probiotics and digestive enzymes inside Shakeology that have been introduced to your body for the first time. These are the most powerful and healthy ingredients that your body has ever had, your digestive system has ever seen. And so your body's going to react very, different the first few days when it's being introduced to all these nutritional ingredients that Shakeology provides. So being able to know a few facts about it is going to help even more than just, sharing stories, which is very vital and showing vulnerability. So my challenge to you guys, Bria Evanson, she's so awesome. She's amazing. You saw that. 19 points already this month. She is awesome. And at Leadership in January for Fierce Fit here in Utah, Bria shared something that she did with Shakeology. She shared For the Love of Shakeology. And every day she posted a fact about Shakeology and how that fact has helped her and why it's been a personal thing to her, about, say, it's, one of the ingredients. She studied up on the ingredients and found one she can relate to, and then posted For the Love of Shakeology, same time every day for 7 days. And she said, you know what? I did get a lot of people responding, asking questions about Shakeology. But what I learned from that time, really diving in and experiencing or trying to really understand all the ingredients in Shakeology, it was invaluable. It was so worth it, just the knowledge I walked away with. So I challenge you guys to do something like that. Do For the Love of Shakeology. Maybe if you're going to call it that exactly, just reach out to Bree and ask her specifically if that's okay. I'm sure she's going to be totally cool with it. But if you are trying to be a little bit unique and yourself, put your spin on it however you want to, go ahead and do that. So however you want to do it, the most important thing is just taking a week, do a week project and study one ingredient and share it. Who cares? You're drinking it every single day, and these are the reasons why. So it might get people interested enough for you to tell your story and show vulnerability. Oh, Emma's going to kill me. I didn't record it.
Hey, Carson, it's Will. Emma had me record it, or I got to stop recording whenever I guess you're done. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I'm done. You can stop recording now.
No, that was
Thank you. Dude, Will, I just noticed that. I was going to stop recording and it wasn't recorded. You just saved my life. I did not want to explain that. I'd be wearing that dunce cap all through Summit. Hey, thanks, you guys. I appreciate you guys being on the call, very much. If you got questions or anything like that, always feel free to reach out to me. It's why I'm in this business, Beachbody, because of the connections with you guys, with coaches and other people. So that's an important part of my life. So never be shy. Thanks, you guys.
Thanks, Carson.
Hey, thanks, Will. Congratulations on the retirement, buddy. I'm so proud of you and excited, man.
Thanks. Emma put me right to work.
The honeydew list.
Yeah.
Dude, well, that's awesome. Well, thanks, Will, for recording that. I owe you big time, brother.
Take care.
All right, you too. See ya.